Okay, hello and welcome to our Pillars of Eternity all challenge modes active playthrough, brought to you by GameAnyone.com. So before we begin, what should I tell you? I'm going to play the game with all the hard settings. Path of the Damned difficulty, expert mode, and Trial of Iron. Something else you should know, I will read all the text in the game. It includes dialogues of NPCs, and I will use a slow combat mode. I will never pause, but the combat will be in a slow mode all the time. So let's see what Obsidian has in store for us. As your character makes choices in conversations and quests, he or she will start developing reputations, both generally and with the specific factions. Characters in the world will respond to these choices in a good or bad way. Alright. Something else, I'm going to roleplay a lawful, stupid character. In case you don't know what that is.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Okay. Yeah, look it up in TV tropes. Lawful is stupid. With a little twist. Female, a woman's role in Aurora is largely dependent on where she's from. In the Aedean Empire, Bylinian republics and Dyrwood, women occupied many domestic, educational and organizational roles. There are primary hunters and soldiers, and leaders to the tribes of Nastiak. In Ergalamfath and Ixmilt, women and men have more fluid social roles. In all societies there are exceptions to the rule, and women can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions. Why not? Yeah, female. We're going with Godlike. The Godlike are the children of the Kith, civilized races who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider it a blessing. These aspects may take many forms and often come with mystical powers. Errant head shapes are typical, and Godlike are unable to wear protective headgear, as it is near impossible to find anything that fits. Because of their unusual nature, their inability to reproduce, Godlike are often viewed with fear and wonder. Alright, Godlike it is. Why? Because I want to be a moon Godlike. Moon, holy Jesus Christ, we look like death itself. Maybe I should be a male. That doesn't look right. Okay. Moon Godlike are the most tolerated of the Godlike, while their skin tone and a large moon-like growth on their foreheads may be strange to some. Their appearance are generally considered more palatable than the other Kith. Sailors have many beliefs about Moon Godlike and their propensity to bring luck, though there is little agreement as to what kind of luck they tend to bring. Silver Tide. Every encounter when reduced below 75, 50 and 25 endurance, Moon Godlike generates waves of healing moonlight that restore endurance to them and their allies. So yeah, I'm going to be basically a healer. Body type. Holy shit. That face. Face is ridiculous. Maybe an elf, I don't know. Let's go with human. Now for this. I've read the manual, that's why I know. I'm going to be a priest. Priests are devotees of Aurora's deities and practitioners of religious magic. While all priests dedicate themselves to specific gods, priests' power is usually derived from their personal beliefs. In contrast to most paladins, priests tend to focus on philosophy, teaching, and the relationship of religious organizations with common folk. The reception of priests in any given part of the world depends largely on how their god is revered or reviled by the people who live there. Starting abilities: Holy Radiance generates a modest amount of endurance for all allies around the priest. Any enemy vessels caught in the area take burn damage and may be frightened. Over the course of the game, the power of this ability may shift based on the reputations the priest gained related to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her deity. Spells. Priests have access to a variety of spells of support and some offense-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, priests automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast in a limited number of times per rest. As priests gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use. Okay. Everything is low. Whatever, what can you do? I need someone to heal everyone. Now the deity. These I didn't find in the manual, so I will have to read all of them. Called Berath in Aetherian and Sirono in Bailian. It is the god of cycles, of doors, and of life and death itself. People commonly place or carve the figure of Berath in doorways, windows, and other portals. From the place to another, Berath has a relatively small priesthood, in part because it does not speak often to him. However, Berath has many petitioners and occasional followers. Favored dispositions: stoic, rational; disfavored dispositions: passionate, cruel. Well, this guy could work. I must choose a deity that's lawful. Justice, something like that. Let's see. Eothas is the Aetherian name for the god of light, redemption, and rebirth. While worship of Eothas is still popular in the Empire and Red Ceres, the faith is outlawed in most cities of the Dyrwood due to the events of the Saints' War, in which Saint... What do you know? Imagine that. Tooltips didn't know that. Okay, I'll do that later. In which Saint P.01, who had supposedly become a living vessel for Eothas, attempted to invade Dyrwood before being destroyed at the gates of Halgoth's citadel. Eothas has not been heard from since, and it is presumed dead by most. Favored dispositions: benevolent, honest. Okay. Disfavored, cruel, deceptive. Magran is the goddess of war and fire, and hers is the most populous following in Dyrwood. Magran's faithful are rank-and-file soldiers as well as officers, tacticians, and strategists. Additionally, they create devices in warfare, especially those made in the forge, such as weapons and armor. Her priests view battle and warfare as inevitable human activities that should be pursued with single-minded efficiency. Consequently, she is not a goddess of battle, lust, or celebration as much as a military excellence and passion discipline. Okay. Sken, also known as the Quiet Slave, is the god of the secret hatred, resentment, and violent rebellion. He is usually depicted as a small, bald man covered in lash scars whose ears and nose have been cut off. He appears outwardly submissive with downcast eyes. However, his eyes glitter back with quiet hatred, and his fist is clenched. He is known to manifest in horrific incarnation known as the effigy to followers desperate enough to perform certain unspeakable rites. In Dyrwood, Skane faithful often double as torturers and executioners, delighting in the fall of the high-status prisoners. Okay. Whale is the god of dreams, secrets, mysteries, and revelations. Inscrutable even to the other gods, Whale has no determinate gender or consistent appearance. Its symbol is the eye, though the look and number of eyes often change. People pray to Whale both to protect their secrets as well to unravel mysteries in front of them. Followers of Whale are known for many strange and unusual practices, possible for good reasons, possibly for no reason at all. Okay, we're going with Berath, the god of... I don't know. It says, cycles, doors of life and death. And we dispense justice, which I would suggest is more or less life and death. So let's proceed. Attributes. Holy fuck. Attributes define a character's basic mental and physical strengths and weaknesses. They modify many gameplay statistics and are often used to unlock options in conversations. Character creation allows you to choose with which attributes your character will empathize, but spells and items can further modify your attributes during gameplay. Let's read on this. Might represents a character's physical and spiritual strength, brute force, as well as their ability to channel powerful magics. Okay. During interactions, it can be useful for intimidating displays and acts of brute force. In combat, it contributes to both damage and healing, as well as the fortitude defense. Alright. Constitution. It's a combination of the character's overall health and stamina. Although it is not used much in interactions, it is sometimes checked to withstand pain or endure a physical taxing ordeal. In combat, it affects maximum health and endurance and contributes to a fortitude defense. Okay. Dexterity is an abstraction of a character's hand-eye coordination, balance, and overall grace. In interactions, it can be used for sleight of hand and fast reactions. In combat, it affects the character's action speed with all attacks, spells, and abilities, and contributes to a reflect stance. Okay. Perception represents a character's senses as well as their instinctive ability to pick up on details. In interactions, it can be used to catch someone in a lie, to make an observant comment about their appearance, or to notice something happening in the background. In combat, it contributes to deflection and defense reflex, and grants a bonus to interrupt. Okay. Intellect represents a character's logic and reasoning capabilities. In interactions, it can be useful for deduction, science realization, and problem solving. In combat, it contributes to a will defense and influences durations and areas of effect for all abilities and talents. And as a godlike, we already have a point there. Okay. Resolve reflects a character's internal drive and determination, fearlessness, and emotional intensity they can project to others. It can be useful for mental intimidation, leadership, and convincing performances. In combat, it helps characters maintain concentration and contributes to a will and deflection abilities. A character's concentration determines how likely they are to have their spells or attack interrupted during combat. Every point of resolve increases a character's concentration and is opposed by the attack's interrupt rating. Like attack rolls interrupts, use a randomized roll to determine if the interrupt is successful. If concentration is superior to interrupt rating, the interrupt is less likely to occur. Okay. Will. Defense opposes attacks that are mentally based. Defines a character's class level. Okay. Deflection. The defense used to resist against direct melee or ranged attacks against a character that are not area of effect. It is defined by the character's class, perception. Okay. So I have 15 points. Let's say I had 18 points, so I could give 3 to each, but that would be a stupid thing to do. So, what should I do? Apparently I will use spells a lot, won't I? I would say that these three are the most important for my character, plus constitution, dexterity, and might. Taking a back seat, you could say. So let's put them on tiers. What affects my ability to cast the spells? I would have to say all these two. So these two, and perception and constitution, finally might and dexterity. So how do I distribute these points? If I had 18, is there a limit? 19. Okay. I can rob. -4. Okay. So 19. And attributes, how do I gain attributes? I'm guessing by leveling up I will. 15, 18. So let's put this at 15 both. Let's bring constitution to 13. And 1 in might. Does that sound good? I don't know. That's what I'm going to do. Let's continue. Culture. Okay, I'm going to choose these based purely on metagame, and then dexterity, resolve, intellect, constitution, might, perception. Okay, let's read on all this. Aether. The Aether Empire is currently the largest and most powerful force in this part of the world. It is centered around the equator and has a tropical climate. So the Empire has colonies in numerous areas of the world. Greater Aether is at its heart and houses the majority of its human and elven nations. Perception, might, constitution, intellect. Let's take the intellect. That doesn't look very intellectual to me, to be honest. Whatever. Once the crown jewel of the southern seas, old Bailia is now the crumbed remnants of an empire of warring merchant nations. Counting many humans and dwarves among their ranks, the old Valyrian countries are still forces to be reckoned with and are proud of their rich cultural heritage. Whatever. Old Valyria, aristocrat. Okay, colonist, holy shit. Dissident, no. An aristocrat could work. Lawful and stupid, that sounds exactly like us. An aristocrat. Let me check this quickly. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone is in particular best suited for Lawful Stupid character. So let's go with old Valilia. And I would say an aristocrat. You've lived your life amongst the nobility. Your days have been marked by lavish meals and extravagant parties. Your conversations peppered with talk of pedigree and bloodlines. Yeah, Lawful Stupid would fit here. And now I should explain a little bit more. We're going to be lawfully stupid to the extent that we will always do whatever the highest authority of any place asks us to do. We respect authority to the highest degree. Basically, that's how I'm going to roleplay this. So, if, let's say, a policeman tells us, capture this guy, but then a magistrate tells us, no, that guy is fine, you shouldn't do it, we will side with the magistrate. Whatever is the highest authority in the land we are, and that's another reason why I chose Godlike. As a Godlike, we're a social pariah to some extent. And therefore we have no particular allegiance to anyone. So I will just, according to a jurisdiction, I will follow whomever is the highest authority. So, lore, what does lore do? It represents a character's accumulated miscellaneous knowledge and trivia, often of occult and esoteric topics outside of conversation and scripted interactions. Lore is used to activate the scrolls. Higher lore values allow the character to use higher level scrolls. Okay. Appearance. Great. Holy Jesus Christ. That is the best one. Maybe gray. Darker gray. That looks better, I guess. Alright. Portrait. Okay, this one looks the best, I would say. Alright, let's see.
Yes. I've got this.
Let's keep quiet.
Huh?
Now I am leader of the group. Kill them all!
Why not?
They won't see me coming.
Oh? I've got this.
Let's keep quiet.
Yeah? Follow me.
Enter a name. Holy shit, I didn't think of a name. Let's say... Holy fuck. Let's say all the names that are popping up are from Dragon Age. You know what? Let's call her Lilith again. Why not? No, let's call her Lilith. Lilith. Hohenzollern. Yeah, Asterix, I'm just starting the game. I'm I'm in the character creation. Yeah, Lilith Hohenzollern. I'm not even sure that's how you spell it. Alright, let's see what this playthrough brings us. I hope a lot of hours of joy, but who knows? Give me a second, please.